Hey readers, if you could leave your house today, would you go to the library? Would you go to the park? Or maybe you'd like to go on a road trip. I bet you're ready for an adventure. Well, lucky for you, today we're starting a brand new reading unit where you can go on reading adventures. That's right, lots of reading adventures. Whenever you read a storybook, know that you'll meet a character who is going places and doing things, and you'll get to go with them. But first, before you go on a reading adventure, you're going to need a few strategies to help you get ready for your adventure and along the way during your adventure. So today, I'm going to teach you a few strategies that you're going to use before you start your adventure and while you're on your adventure. First, before you start your reading adventure, you must get ready by taking a sneak peek of your books. Do you remember this work? Well, I'm going to show you all about getting ready by taking a sneak peek in this book called Iris and Walter. We know that whenever we take a sneak peek of a book, we must first check the front cover. The front cover is going to give us some good information about what the story is going to be about. We're going to check the front cover. Let's do that really quick. Well, I see a tree, and I also see two characters down here in the corner. Maybe their names are Iris and Walter. Let me take a peek inside. When I open up the book, I also see a table of contents. This is going to help us during our sneak peek because it's going to tell us more about what might be happening in the story. Moving, cheer up, a walk and a talk, a new life. Oh, maybe this character is moving and maybe they're sad about it. Oh, that might make sense. Look at her face. She does look very sad. Something else that we see here is a picture, but she still doesn't look completely convinced. Well, it looks like we've done a great job of taking a sneak peek to get ready. From taking our sneak peek, we can guess that maybe one of the characters is moving to a new place. Let's move on to the next strategy. Whenever we are taking a reading adventure, we must also keep track of where and when things are happening in the story. Let's try this work in our story, Iris and Walter. I'm going to read a few pages, and as I read, I'm going to think to keep track of where and when things. Chapter 1, Moving. When Iris and Iris's family moved from the big city to the country, Iris was sad. She missed her noisy street. She missed her wide front stoop. She missed playing baseball after supper until it was too dark to see the ball. She missed the long hallways where she roller skated on rainy days. And at night, she missed the tango music from apartment 3B. I'm going to stop so that I can keep track of where and when. Already, I'm in that big city where she had neighbors that played tango music and she roller skated on long hallways. And I also know that she's moving to the countryside. I know that she's not feeling happy about it. Did you notice how I stopped and I had to make sure I knew where the story was taking place and when things were happening in the story? Did you notice that? Thumbs up this video if you noticed. So another strategy that we have to make sure that we do when we take on a reading adventure is we have to predict what might happen next. Are you good at doing this? I bet you are. Let's watch Miss White as she predicts what might happen next in the story. Well, I already know that Iris has moved from the big city to the countryside. I predict that Iris is not gonna be happy. I don't think that she's gonna like the countryside. I predict that Iris is never gonna grow to like the countryside. I mean, she's come from a big city where there are lots of people and there's hustle and bustle, and I think she's just not going to like it. I want you to pause this video. It's your turn. You take a second and predict what you think is going to happen next in our story, Iris and Walter. Pause this video. I'll wait for you. Are you back? Did you make a prediction? I wonder what you think will happen next. You did so great at making a prediction of what's going to happen next in the story. So let's move on to our next strategy that you're going to need for your reading adventure. Reading and reading adventure. You must retell the parts of the story. White. She continues reading the story and retells the parts that happen to her. Just understands reading. The bus opening the rumble of the subway under the ground. Iris missed her old life. Iris missed her old life in the big city. Chapter 2, Cheer Up. Cheer up, my Iris, said Iris's mother. We're in the country now. Why don't you run around and do a cartwheel in the grass? But Iris did not want to run around. Iris did not want to do a cartwheel in the grass. So Iris's mother ran around. Iris's mother did a cartwheel in the grass. Talk about fun, said Iris's mother. Said Iris. Cheer up, my Iris, said Iris's father. We're in the country now. Why don't you play monkeys and swing from the tall trees? But Iris did not want to play monkeys. Iris did not want to swing from the tall trees. I'm going to stop right here, and I'm going to go ahead and retell the important parts. So far, the important parts in the story is that Iris has moved from the big city to the countryside, and she's not happy about it. So far, she's already had her mother to try to cheer her up by trying to run around and do cartwheels in the grass. But it didn't quite convince Iris that the move was a great idea. And then I also know that Iris's dad tried to cheer her up by telling her to try to play monkeys in the tall trees. And again, Iris is not so convinced that that made the move a great idea. Did you notice how I had to go back through a couple of important events that have happened in the story just to make sure that I was understanding what I was reading? Boys and girls, when you take your reading adventure, you must retell the important parts. I think we're ready to move on to our next strategy. Next, we have to reread to notice more in the story. I'm going to go back and I'm going to reread the parts that I've already read. Maybe it's going to be some things that I may have missed the first time that I catch again the second time. So I'm not going to go forward just yet. I'm going to go back just a little bit and reread some of the parts that I have read already. I'm going to start here. She missed her noisy street. She missed her wide front stoop. She missed playing baseball after supper until it was too dark to see the ball. I'm going to stop here and notice something that I didn't notice before. I'm going to notice the picture. Do you see how many people are surrounding her? It looks like it's more than just people in her family. It looks like it's probably neighbors and maybe business owners and other people who are around her in her community. And I'm going to remember that that might be a reason why Iris is not so happy about